Good morning and welcome, the Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason here on this Tuesday. Bear with us. We're having a few technical difficulties, but we're getting it worked out. Just happy to be here today as once again the year of chaos is upon us. And wow, there's just so many places to go. Conflicting reports this morning as to what Israel will or will not do as far as a retaliation with Iran. That's probably the biggest news of the day. The news, the press was saying, hey, Israel's agreed to only hit military targets. But then Benjamin Netanyahu came out and said, hey, I don't know what these guys are talking about. We're gonna do what we want when we want. The big thing, though, that the Israeli defense minister said, this is going to be big. This was his answer with all of this, that Israel is going to respond, and it's going to be big. This has got the gold markets nervous, if you will. Gold's moving higher, silver's moving higher. Wall Street's off a little bit. I don't know. Right? Obviously, none of us know. It's not like the Israelis call me before they do things. Like I said earlier this morning, and really it started yesterday, I want to say with the Washington Post, and then Bloomberg came in this morning saying that kind of the same thing, that, hey, Israel is going to respond, but it's just going to be, for lack of a better term, a military response. That they weren't going to hit the nuke facilities. They weren't going to hit the oil facilities. And then Benjamin Netanyahu came out and essentially denied those reports. And then the Israeli defense minister came out and said that they're very close to responding, and it is going to be big. His words, not mine. 800-951-0592. You know, that is our toll-free number. Physical delivery of gold and silver, platinum, palladium. It is what we do. allamericangold.com is the website. Yeah, and it's just getting harder and harder to know what to do, when to do it. We got the election closing in, so we got a lot of stuff going on. But the realities are, you need to get prepared for what is coming. Is it going to be World War III? I mean, I hate to say it. I don't want it to be. But when we look at how the banking cartel operates, when they make a shift in the currency of the world, they usually use war to do it. Now, we know a shift is coming. The shift's already started, right? America's not going away. I guess the power of the dollar is what is going to go away. And it really, when you think about, hey, why is our standard of living going down? Why do things cost so much? And I know they're trying to say there's no inflation. There is. We know there is. Why can't you afford to buy a house? Why can't you afford to send your kids to college? Why can't you afford a new car? Why can't you afford the groceries at the grocery store? Because there's a shift. There's a shift coming. And right now, that shift is going to reduce the standard of living for most people whose country, whose currency, really doesn't matter with a country, whose currency is going to be on the losing end of it. And that's us. And that's what's happening. That's really the simplest way to explain it. Why is gold doing what it's doing? Why is it that every time we turn around, there's more central banks saying they're going to raise their gold holdings? Just happened again. Guess with the newest one, though, Mexico. Interesting. Now, it's small, We've got BRICS coming up, right? That's the big meeting with, are they going to, we believe they're going to increase the membership, right? Right now there's 11 countries. How many are going to be? I don't know. They're going to have their payment system. This is what we expect, right? M-Bridge, you've heard me talking about. Matter of fact, they've already started using it. So they've got a lot of things working right now that are leading up to this. And then, of course, war, always a great way. Remember World War II. Now, we were already, look at it this way. We were already kind of emerging as that superpower, weren't we? Before World War II. And then we kind of got handed the throne. Is the throne being ready to be taken back? We'll be right back. We're back here, the Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason. Hopefully Jason will be joining me here in just a moment. A quick look in at the markets. The Dow is down about 110 points, but still right near record highs. The S&P's down 15. The Nasdaq's down 100. The bond market's reopened. This is kind of what I would expect right now. The 10-year note down to 405. Are people heading a little bit to safety, or perceived safety, as Israel says they're going to do? And maybe that's why it's taking so long. It sounds like they're really ramping up for something pretty big here. Now, crude oil, it's off the lows, but still down over $3. Again, as the reports were, Israel wasn't going to hit the oil facilities. And then the Israelis said, we'll hit whatever we want, but we'll wait and see how all of that plays out. Right now, gold's up 13, 26.63. Silver up 37. 31.53, and like I said, get diversified as quickly as you possibly can. Check out our friends over at Y-Refi, up to 10.25% fixed rate of return. Not correlated to the stock market, not correlated to the Federal Reserve. Hey, guess what? Not correlated to war either. Got to have a minimum of $50,000, but check them out. InvestYRefi.com. That's the word invest, the letter Y, REFY.com. Or just call them at 888-Y-REFI-24. So yesterday, it was Boeing slashing 10,000. It was 7-Eleven saying we're closing 450 stores. Today, Walgreens, man, now they've already announced that they were going to close 500 stores. They've upped that. Walgreens now saying they're going to close 1,200 stores over the next 3 years. So between now and 2027, 1,200 Walgreens are going to be shuttered. 500 of them will be done in 2025, so you can kind of figure, on that path of about 500 a year coming out of Walgreens. As they say, the company has been under pressure, and of course, close that many stores. Everybody loves it. The stock up 10% right now, and then not to be outdone, McDonald's CEO saying 2025 is going to be another challenging year as the consumer, their main consumer, running out of money. And then True Value, that's a hardware chain, filed for bankruptcy today. By the way, if you don't know who True Value is, they've got 4,500 locations across the country. They're going to be sold to a competitor. I expect, I don't know, up to 1,000 probably of those that will no longer be in existence. And last but not least, Big Lots. Now we know, remember, they filed for bankruptcy, said they were going to close 300 stores. Then it was 350 stores. Now, Big Lots updating the number of stores up to 553 Big Lot locations that are scheduled now to close. So think about Big Lots. They had just under 1,400 stores. By the time they're done, they'll probably be about half, right? About half. So very interesting what we have here, and we've had this for a while, where the certain retailers continue to struggle with what is happening as far as the consumer goes and store closings. We are expecting on Thursday, remember Thursday is going to be jobless claims. We'll see how big it is. A lot of people are saying that they expect a number above 270. Some of that is going to be the hurricanes. We know that it could be a messy number on Thursday, but again, it does appear that the layoffs are picking up again. I think that's good, right, for the Fed that wants to lower rates. The problem is, remember the jobs number we got last week? I mean, the jobs number said everything's wonderful. Unemployment was still pretty low. It's something where it is very hard to tell what is going to happen next. But all of these closings, I think, gives the Fed the ability to continue to cut. If we get a big number Thursday, then I think you're going to see, again, people get excited about that, which, again, drives gold and silver pricing right now. Like I said, we're looking $26.70. Right now, gold's up $13, almost $14 now, $26.63. Close it above $26.70. Look out. Look out for new all-time record highs. And then silver's right around $31.50, $32. Those are key areas for those two metals as we're kind of waiting to see what the economic data gives. Now, they did get some more help today for the rate cutters. The Empire Fed Manufacturing Index had a big month last month, took it all back this month, down to a negative 12, 11.9, the biggest month-over-month drop since January. The measure of new orders, this was the one that caught my eye. New orders down 20 points to a negative 10. The index shipments decreased 21 points. So here's the funny thing about this. The employment index rebounded. Yeah. The first expansion in the manufacturing so far this year. Kind of interesting on how that is working out. Prices paid for materials hit a 6-month high. So, again, kind of a mixed bag. Hey, we got good news that nobody's ordering stuff. Right? I guess that's good news. I mean, if you want a rate cut, the bad news is for the stuff that did order, prices increased to the highest level in over 6 months. So the confusing reports, I think they continue. I think they're going to continue. We're going to see, the year of chaos and all of this as we watch how all of these things play out. The big thing, though, I think is going to be what's happening with Israel. By the way, news out of Russia today that Kursk, remember the Ukrainians took part of Russia. Well, they're starting to lose it. And again, of course, the Russians have been gaining in Ukraine. No word yet on whether or not they're close. They haven't decided to take $50 billion from the Russians' monies that they've frozen to give to Ukraine. I think that's going to happen. I think that's going to be another point of contention as we're waiting on the BRICS meeting and then, of course, the presidential election. So there are a lot of activity happening in the marketplace right now. And at the same time, let me give you another example. Here's another crazy one. Evictions. So we say that we've got a 3% economy. Well, at least probably 2.5%, but last quarter was 3%. This quarter, I think it's going to be close to that, something in that range. Metro Phoenix, we've set an all-time record for the amount of evictions for the first 9 months of the year. And again, Phoenix is growing, so okay, but it was the number. 65,651 evictions. That's just Phoenix. 65,000. The previous record was back during the crash, right? 06. Right? Remember in Phoenix, housing really crashed in 05. And we knew in 06 there was trouble, but a new all-time record high, and they hit 83,000 evictions last year. Looks like we're going to take that number out. So again, it's very interesting. You know what I was telling, and I got into it yesterday, and then we ended up going somewhere else. But I was down off of Thomas and I-17 here in Phoenix, and I was shocked. There was at least 100, maybe 200 homeless people, all from the freeway. They lined the overpass of our freeway. There's like a sidewalk. You can walk across the overpass. It was full, both sides, with homeless people. And then, of course, going down Thomas, full. I'd never seen anything like we're used to seeing, okay, there's a homeless person on this corner, homeless person on that corner. Well, maybe there's 3 or 4 homeless people congregated here. No, this was like a lot, like an army, and they all looked like zombies. But I was with my buddies, and all of us said the same thing, which was, well, gosh, we've heard this. There's been homeless people in this town since it was a time. We got homeless. But I've never seen anything like that. Never saw that many of them. Where it wasn't like they weren't in line. You could see that maybe like, hey, they're in a line. Right? Because, the shelter's doing something, or maybe someone's giving out food. There was none of that. They're just there. I don't know. I really don't. It's getting harder and harder for me to really figure out what is going to happen. The Iranians, by the way, have told countries that if Israel uses their airspace to launch attacks on Iran, that essentially they'll pay the price. Remember when the Iranians were lobbing some missiles at the Saudis? Remember they were trying to, hit the oil structures? Kind of that same threat here. So, again, we'll see how it plays out. And then how about Neil Kashkari? He's the head of he's not the head of the Fed. He's the Minneapolis Fed president. This is really interesting. Because we know digital currency is coming, blockchain technology, the technology behind, like Bitcoin and Ethereum, they're not going away. But he made an interesting comment about Bitcoin. And I'm assuming when he says Bitcoin, he's talking all the digital tokens. Bitcoin has been around a dozen years, and it's still useless, according to Neil Kashkari. And it's something where I don't know. I don't think here's what I do know. I do know this. The technology that was around these coins isn't going away. Matter of fact, they're going to use it. Why do I have a feeling they're going to use it? Here's what else he said. Why would the Fed put Bitcoin on the balance sheet? We've got an unlimited supply of dollars. It doesn't make sense to trade it for something else with a hard cap, right? Why would we put Bitcoin on? Because what if we want to make more? Yeah, there you go. True Fed stuff. We'll be back after the break. We're back here, the half-empty cup. No, the half-empty cup. That's the next show. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason on this Tuesday. Just quickly, the half-empty cup will be a repeat today. We were trying to delay this. We actually were going to be swapping out hard drives at noon today when it wouldn't affect any of the live shows. Unfortunately, Skyla decided that it wanted to quit at 9. We didn't quite make it, so we're going to do it here in the next few hours. Everything should be back to normal as soon as that is done. So we'll run a repeat of the half-empty cup today. Then we'll be back to normal immediately thereafter. Thank you for bearing with us. Right now, gold's up 15, 26.65. Silver's up 40, 31.55. U.S. $20 gold piece. Listen, they keep going up. I mean, it is what it's going to be. Believe me when I tell you, premiums are going to rise. Right after the election, when we know what the direction is going to be, how big of the rise will depend. And I don't know, but this is what experience is telling me. If it's Harris, I expect premiums to skyrocket. Where if it's Trump, they'll be up, probably back to normal. Right, that will be my guess. Now, what would back to normal mean? Well, let's just take today. $20 gold pieces, $2,800, which is still nothing, right? What? $135 over spot, big deal. $2,800, great price. Let's just say the election was last week and Trump had won. Today, I would venture to guess this is where I think we would be. Hold on, I got to use my handy dandy calculator. We'll be below $3,000, but between $2,950 and $2,975. So pretty big savings. Same gold price, same spot price. But look how much more you would be paying. If it's Harris, this is what I think you're going to see. And let's give it a caveat. It won't be like the immediately the day after, but let's say within 30 days of the election, we'd probably be looking at something in this ballpark. $3,050 to $3,100 with gold at $26.65. Of course, I think it's going to be higher than that anyway. But still, you get, hopefully I'm doing a good job of painting this picture for you. Right? Because I get it, right? So there's people like, well, I'm focused on this right now. I don't know what to do, and I'm just going to wait a little bit. I need some more clarity. Clarity comes with a cost. I don't know why this happened. Listen, here's, I guess, the advantage of me doing this long Because, gosh, what election number is this? I don't even know. My 5th or 6th presidential election? It always happens. Premiums come way in right before the election. Business kind of slows down. Right? People are wanting to hear Kamala takes or whatever. I don't know what other idiot comments got said today. Going to tell you right now. You are saving between $150 to $300 an ounce that's going to disappear between now and the end of the year. That's a lot. That's a lot. I mean, that's almost really like pretending gold's only $2,500 and buying today. That's really what's happening. Think about it, 3,000, 3,500 gold, right? The premiums that you're going to see. I hope you're taking advantage. I hope I did a good job of explaining it to you of why it is buying today is the way to go. Trading out of your bullion, trading out of your Krugerrands, your Maple Leafs, your Pandas, your Gold Bars, your Eagles. Right? Lynette Zhang just did, holy smoke, she just did this whole big thing about, she's like us. She's like, hey, the old gold's that's where it's at. Why? Because it's private. But gold confiscation now, it's on the table. Listen, when I started doing this in 2003, gold confiscation wasn't on the table. Everyone, gold's not money anymore. They're not going to take it, blah, 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 blah. Fast forward to today. Now it's on the table. Why? Look at what all these central banks are doing. Look at what BRICS is talking about doing. We're going to back our currency, back our bonds. Can you imagine BRIC bonds backed by gold? Could happen. Now, all of a sudden, it's back on the table. Go to allamericangold.com today. We've got a big interview with the Congressional Budget Office moron. I call him a moron. It's not his fault. He can't tell you there's recessions coming. But listen to him talk about the size of the debt. He's not talking about a debt of $35 trillion or $36 trillion. He's talking about $50 trillion. And Jason, the ability to fund it, this is kind of what we're looking at. And we talked about it earlier this week, all the new issuances and how foreign demand has all but disappeared. What would ever happen? Could you imagine an auction where foreign demand was negative? I mean, it really could be around the corner.
Yeah, it could take a little longer, right, Joe? But it could be sped up to happening in the weeks and months coming up. So yeah, this is gold demand has been tremendous, Joe. It's just been tremendous. How many days in a row are we going to talk about the biggest entities economically on the face of the planet are buying it?
Yeah,
kind of gives you the message. What should we be doing?
And then of course we had bank earnings today. They were pretty good. The headline numbers. You know what wasn't good? Net interest yields. Yeah, now that we've got real rates. By the way, charge-offs at banks at a 11-year high. Whoops. Be back after We're back here. The Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason wrapping up a Tuesday. Again, our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. $20 gold piece of Saints or Libs. You pick it. $2,800 as bank charge. So listen, the banks, their earnings are good, right? Wall Street's up, so they've made money. Trading revenues, things of that nature, strong. Net interest income, right? We expected that to be weak, and it was. It was because, right, the yield curve's no longer inverted, right, and we're now having a steepening of the yield curve, even though the Fed is lowering rates, but it's charge-offs. Bank of America following suit with J.P. Morgan, charge-offs and loan loss preserves, both at not record highs. We're not back yet to the heart of the crisis, but all the way back to 2011. So we're going to, again, continue to keep our eye out on what is happening in that regard. As far as charge-off goes, we're continuing, Jason, to see increases in charge-offs from the big banks, which we expected. But as long as the stock market can hang in there, I think the banks will be okay. The question will be, what will it look like when it doesn't rally like this, when it isn't the big year? Because J.P. Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, that's predominantly where they made all their money, was trading. It wasn't actually in the banking part of it. They're all in Wall Street trying to make up for the issues with, let's face it, mortgages stink right now. Not a lot of people getting home loans. Not a lot of people getting to get car loans. They've got to make up the money somewhere because the people that do have the loans are starting to struggle making the payments. I don't have you, Jason. I don't have you. No. All right, so maybe you can try again. No? Okay. Jason's out. It's just me and all of you, which is, well, let's face it, that may be not such a bad thing, but this is the dilemma that we're in, right? When we look at the situation, even the Congressional Budget Office guy was talking about this debt shouldn't be anywhere close to this high because the economy is good. At least they say it's good. I think it's good. You know, it's not all bad news. I'll give you some good news. I'm going to bank spend a ton of money trading. But when that stops, what will it look like? How bad does the deficit get? Think about this. All of the selling that the billionaires did, and there was a lot of it, because what does it matter? Hey, they sell and then they issue themselves some more stock again, right? Those capital gains, do you know they added almost $500 billion to the government coffers? If we had only taken in the same amount of money that we took in the previous fiscal year, you know that the deficit would have been almost $2.5 trillion. That's where we would have been, really. And if we end up in a situation where, as I think we're going to see, we're going to hit the highs. I've said this all along. We'll have the highs this year. Whatever the highs are this year, I think that's the highs. Of course, we just hit a new high yesterday, right? I'm talking about Wall Street. What if the stock market's down, let me be kind, 10%? What happens? What happens if jobless claims are 270, 280, heaven forbid 300,000 every week? What is the national debt going to look like then? These are the things that can keep you up at night. But if you're diversified, if you have your gold and silver, then you're going to be okay. We keep talking about, hey, an ounce of gold for every year you've been alive. Think about it right now. If you're one of those people that would have been buying gold, Patriot's been around now. Gosh, we're coming up on 30 years. You sell a $20 gold piece. Say you do it once a quarter. Okay, you're going to get, $2,500, $2,600, $2,700, $2,300, wherever gold's at. to supplement your Social Security. Well, let's just say you're 60. You know, let's make it easy. Let's just say 68. And you got to sell 4 ounces of gold a year. Well, you better hope you don't live past 85. Because then you're going to be out of gold. You got to sell 4 ounces a year to supplement your Social Security. And listen, I'm going to tell you right now, the way Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid look, it's not going to be good. It just isn't. Remember, the government's ruled it, and this is a fact. There's a Supreme Court case in the early 60s. They ruled that Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, FICA is a tax. It's a tax. What does that mean? It's not property rights. It's not yours. The government doesn't have to pay a penny. Better have your gold put away. And you know what? Maybe we need to bump it to 2 ounces of gold for every year you've been alive, the way inflation's been going. We're going to wrap it up. Final segment. Stay with us. Final segment here. Remember, the half-empty cup will be a repeat today. We'll be back again tomorrow. Got to make a hard drive change to our automation system. It was actually planned for right after our show. Unfortunately, we didn't quite get there today, but we'll be back tomorrow for that. Our special today, $20 gold pieces at $2,800. You know, think about where we've been with $20 gold pieces this year. I think we were close to $2,400 when the year started, right? $2,450, $2,475, $2,500, $2,550, $2,600, $2,675, $2,700. Now we're at $2,800, and we'll see what happens with. I'm still curious with the Israeli thing, because they've got me a little nervous now about why it's taken so long, and now all of a sudden I think it makes sense to me. Whatever they're going to do, Jason, I feel like it's going to be big, right? That's kind of how they've approached all of this, right? Whether it was what they did with Hamas, what they did with Hezbollah, right? You're good, Jason.
What about October 22nd?
Yeah, the BRICS
Why not
meeting.
do it when the BRICS meetings? Why don't you do it next week? And with the opposing money system is meeting. And Iran's on that side, by the way.
Yeah, that's right. You know, that's another one. We got the BRICS meeting next week.
Attack them. That's what I'm saying. It seems like that's a good time.
Yeah. If we get anything close to what they say is going to come out of that meeting, we'll probably have record high gold prices, right? We'll probably be talking, right, forget about 2,800, probably be talking 2,900. And then, of course, right after that's the election. So it is go time on both. I've already told you, right, outright, any silver you can get it. 800-951-0592. $20 gold pieces at $2,800. Remember, great time to trade. I hate trading like for like. I'm never a big like for like guy, but getting out of some of that bullion and getting into that private gold, if you're looking at a good time to do it, that would be now, because the premiums are low, so it will cost you a minimal amount, right? If we were talking about, hey, a $20 gold piece is $29.95 today, I'd be like, yeah, probably not a great time to trade, right? Don't do it. But now the premiums are, like I said, we're within $135 a freaking spot. Good time to do it. 800-951-0592. Don't forget, we've been doing a lot of IRAs lately, too. You want to start rolling over some of your IRAs, you can do that, right? You don't have to roll the whole thing over. You're picking them out. Maybe you want to, hey, I'm going to roll over half. I'm going to roll over 20%. 10%, 50%, 70%, whatever. We can do it. And there's no penalties. It's just a trustee-to-trustee transaction. You don't get hit with a tax bill or any of those other things. We can help you do that as well. If you want more information about it, call us. 800-951-0592. Jason and I will be back tomorrow. God bless everybody. Great job, by the way, Jack, getting us on the air, getting us through this. We got the best people around. We'll be back tomorrow. God bless.